everybody, and welcome on back to Building with Whip. Today we are starting episode number 1 of a brand new project. We are going to be working on building up a vineyard in our world here. I am super pumped for this one. Hopefully you guys are excited about it. We've been spending a lot of time working on the big old castle right back there, right behind those trees. If you guys want to go check that out, those are the previous 9 episodes now for this series. I thought after 9 episodes, it was probably a good time for us to go ahead and take a little break from this guy so we could come in here and add some awesome little stuff into our world. We have this big old blank space that I've been staring at constantly, being like, what should we add over here? We could add some fields, we could add some really cool stuff, we could add just more of this stuff throughout here. And then after touring the Conquest Survival server, something Conquest of Vanilla, I think they call it, we took a look at one of the wineries they have set up over there. I can't remember who built it, so I'm sorry for whoever built that. I can't give you credit to it, but you inspired me so much to go ahead and start building up my own. I have started by coming down here and building in a little bit of a pathway, adding in our new awesome block that I went ahead and retextured the petrified oak slabs to coarse dirt, and then I went ahead and created a data pack where 3 coarse dirt will give you 6 of our petrified oak slabs there, aka coarse dirt slabs. Really happy with that one, and it actually doesn't look too bad because if you get rid of that texture pack on here, it just looks like oak slabs, and it actually turns out to be pretty okay. Last few episodes, we've been working up on that guy there. I went ahead and brought up our walls a little bit there. However, today we're coming into a brand new project, working in this area right here. I'm so excited for it. And I got a question for you guys going ahead to start this episode out here. What type of elements should we be including in our winery? Right now, I got a few things on my list. I want to include a massive cellar area where we can store all different types of wine as they're aging inside of their casket. I want to add a bit of a manor house, I'm calling it. Basically a large house right in this area for the winemaker to live in and whatever lord or whoever might live into this area. I want to go ahead and add a little bit of a stable area right over there. Maybe they have some mules or donkeys or horses that help them till the land, get everything ready for the crops to be planted. And then finally, I want to go ahead and add in a storage room. So we got 3 buildings in there that'll be pretty good size. And I'm thinking about adding in a few different areas for, obviously over in here, we're going to have a massive vineyard kind of stretching all the way throughout that area. I was thinking a little bit of a wheat field in there, a wheat field beyond this point, and then some like trees dotting along the path throughout here to help kind of hide and give the area a little bit more privacy to everything else. So if you guys got ideas on what we can include in there, be sure to let me know down in the comments below. However, in today's episode, I want to go ahead and focus on planning out a lot of this guy with you guys here. I didn't mention it earlier, but if you guys want the download to the data pack that just makes those cobblestone or coarse dirt slabs there craftable, let me know. I can go ahead and throw a download out to the data packs I'm using. So let me know. All right, for our manor house here, I do want to go ahead and have this guy largely made out of stone because I want to make it look a little bit fancier, a little bit more imposing over the rest of the buildings we have in here. So I went ahead and threw down a baseline here that we could start with. Basically, we're doing polished andesite, 2 gaps, another one, 1 gap, another one, 2 gaps, and then another one. That's basically going to create our outer wall here. Then beyond that, I wanted to go ahead and start stepping into this area and creating what would be like window gaps throughout this area. So this is going to be a bit of a raised up part to it, and I wanted to go ahead and have 4 windows. So we got 1 window right here, we got 2 window, 3 window, and then it'd be 4 window, and then that'll kind of come into here. This will create a bit of a corner. Our doorway is actually going to be right in this area, but it's going to be raised up. So I wanted to go ahead and have basically from this point, nope, right there, I wanted to go ahead and have like a staircase starting to come up into this guy. So we have a little bit more of a grand entrance coming into here. I feel like that could be a little bit better, add a little bit of extra interest into this build and just make things overall look just more interesting and break things up a little bit. As you guys can probably tell if you remember that Juconia tour or Conquest Survival tour, whatever, I don't even know the name of that server anymore. But if you guys can tell, this is a little similar but to what they did on their winery, but I want to go ahead and break things up as we go throughout here. So if you see some similarities, that is true. There are a few things along here that are going to be similar. For example, they had an amazing idea of coming through right here and adding a staircase down into the cellars. So you don't have to go through anything. You can have it in that central courtyard where everything is accessible, easy to get to. So I want to go ahead and have a staircase with like a little bit of a wall coming right here. So we're going to have our staircase going down in through there so you can easily get right down into it. Thought that was an awesome idea. This is just a reference block for now. I want to go ahead and have on the second floor to give us a little bit more space for everything that we're working with. I wanted to go ahead and have some part up here where a wooden bit kind of sticks out, kind of what you see on the side of castles for a fortification, things like that. I wanted to go ahead and add this in here so it's just a little bit extra interest to it. I think it was going to be 9 long if I remember correctly. So 1, the 9 of those guys, and then another one right there. Then we get a little bit of a flat wall distance in here. Then to help break up this flat wall over here, we want to go ahead and throw in a bit of a fireplace. So I was thinking we could count in 3 to give it a good central position right there. Then go 1, 2, 3, and then we can do another polished andesite. And that's pretty much the general shape of this build right here. We are going to come back in and do the wireframe for this guy if we have the time at the end here, because I think that could be pretty good to get set up here. But I want to go ahead and mix this guy up here a little bit now. I want to get it a little bit planted down here for what our pathway is going to be looking like, so we can get a general idea for that. And I figured for today's episode, we could go ahead and do the terraforming, see what we want everything to be looking like, and kind of get a general better idea of everything that's going to be working throughout this area. Like I mentioned, I wanted to go ahead and have a bit of a road come down through this way. You can see our path blocks here are going to be kind of our marker blocks as we're going throughout. And we're just going to kind of walk. This is going to be a very much a curved, natural looking pathway. It's more or less for stuff to get down here. We are going to be doing a bit of terraforming to smooth it out, so I don't really care if it's perfect right now. This is just a general decent idea of everything that I wanted to have it looking like. And I was thinking we could go ahead and let's just go ahead and get rid of some grass in here so we can get through. I was thinking like right through here, we could go ahead and kind of have the path curve back in a little bit more, bringing it through all the way out this direction, coming through down to where this tree is. Basically right before it is where I wanted to have that general little seating area that I was talking about earlier on. I figured like a seating area or something like this just down here on the water would be a great addition to the area, because I feel like we can do so much with all this stuff. And I feel like a big thing that I picked up on that I want to start implementing when we're touring around the world, I know a lot of this stuff is coming back because of the tour, is that you can have areas that don't need to have a huge purpose, but just look nice. So I was figuring down here we could have a little bit of like a raised up seating area, some nice bushes hanging over the side. Maybe it's where like the winemaker comes down to entertain his guests, things like that. And that was a terrible voice crack. But I just want to have something in our world where we could go ahead and just kind of like, you know, let's just go sit down by the water today. We're just going to go ahead and do that. All right, now that it's daytime, there's one element that I have to include. I fell in love with it from that tour. And it was that trellis structure that kind of served as a walkway. So I want to have, basically we're going to be going through the fields completely over in this area. These are all going to be vineyard fields and fields of grapes and all that stuff, so we can make our wine and everything. And I wanted to go ahead and basically have throughout this area that same type of area where we could just have this really nice slope going throughout. And it's actually going to go ahead and connect up to this upper area for us here. So we can kind of have that bridge the gap over to here. We're going to obviously fill in that pond, and then it would come up into this area, coming all the way up here. I know this probably isn't a great plan for what things are going to be looking like, but let's go ahead and see if we can see anything in the sky up here, see what this one would be looking like. And you can kind of see that general road coming through there, another general one coming through up there. I think what will really help us though, guys, if we go ahead and put our terraforming hat on, go and pick up a few shulker boxes of dirt, come back here, and just transform this entire area into something that we can better use to portray what we want to have happen here. So let me go ahead and get my camera account in here. Let me get some dirt gathered up, and then let's kick this off into time-lapse mode. Hey everybody, super quick time-lapse chat update here for you all. Thank you guys all so much for the support recently. It's been freaking crazy. Quickly though, I just wanted to touch base on 2 things that I mentioned in the video that came out on Monday, talking about just channel updates, announcements, things going forward. And I just want to reiterate, because I know not everybody really watches those. First, for the community server that I've been talking about doing for a long time since we hit the 5,000 sub goal, so you know, quite a while ago now, I was always planning on releasing a public community server for everybody, but the more I've looked into the cost of it, and the more I've looked into especially the time cost of basically how much time it would take to run everything there, it's not something that me or the mod community that I have within the Discord have the time to be able to do right now, unfortunately. There'll be more information on that in the video previously, but what I am going to be doing instead is more immediately releasing not right away, but working on it for the end of this month, hopefully releasing a Patreon server. So that leads me into the second point. If you guys want to join into that, there's a link down to my Patreon page in the description below, as well as there'll be a few other things. This is kind of initial release of the Patreon page, so we're just trying it out, testing things out, how things go for now. So if there's anything else that you guys see on there that you want to see as ideas for rewards or things like that that I can include, be sure to let me know. but there's one on there for, I believe it's $10 per month. Just doing that a one-time thing. I'll throw you guys Minecraft head inside of our big port city world so you guys can be the people living in there. Thought that was a really cool way of bringing you guys more into this world as just kind of a thank you for the support. So don't feel obligated to support me over there. Coda's going crazy in the background, so I should probably wrap this one up. Let's go ahead and jump back into the world, and I will catch up with you guys here shortly. Hope you guys enjoyed that little bit of a time lapse there. We are back here on our brand new viewing tree for this project, and I think we got a good one ready to go here. We might need to plant a viewing tree over there, however. I don't know, maybe we can use the castle as a viewing castle. That's what it's there for, right? That we can view our little manor we're working on over here. Anyways, I went ahead and got our path built in here, waiting for the last little bit of this grass to fill in over the dirt. And of course, it is filling in directly in the spot I need to put the last bit of the path through. So that is just awesome. However, I have come up here and done a little bit of work. So we got our little stables area right here that I was talking about. And then we got the storage room right over in here. I want to go with a full diagonal build because I haven't done one for a while. So I thought it'd be really fun and a cool challenge. That being said, however, we do have this guy over here ready to go, and I've been doing a few little things. You can see our staircase is now in to get ourselves up here, and then the way to get downstairs into the brewing area, the cellars area, is going to be through here. However, I do want to do something to help make things a little bit more accessible down there so it's not super deep into the catacombs. Is I want to actually go ahead and have our floor blocks on this level right here. And then underneath the floor blocks, we're going to have kind of like a pattern of wood logs down here, something like that. I might turn them into oak so it just feels like it's a little bit taller so that we can have our floor up here for the upper area, this area down here, and then below that we can instantly start into the cellars area to give it an extra block or two of height without having it go deep underground, because I want to give ourselves a lot of space. I'm thinking to basically be about as wide and long as this area right here. Beyond that, I have come up over here and added in a few trees. I figured it'd be kind of cool to have some smaller, skinnier, taller spruce trees dotting around this area. So I'm going to start with 3 for now. We might add a few more along the path here to maybe make this area feel a little bit skinnier or more secure, or not secure, but like isolated from the roadway. And then this coming through here, we got our pathway in throughout. Anyways, that's enough of that stuff. Let's go ahead and actually start laying out a design for what we want this area to be looking like, because I think we could come up with something pretty cool. So these guys, we're actually going to go ahead and remove all of them going throughout there. Do I not? I don't have any more polished andesite, so that's fine. I do want to go ahead and basically bring our stone wall up here to the same higher level so that we have a little bit more room to work with. And then bringing it, again, 1 high going all the way across here. And this will be where we are going to have those areas for the windows. So the door is going to be right in there. And I think we were doing, if I remember correctly, it was bam, 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 and bam. That work? I think that works. That sounds good to me. We'll leave it there for now. But I was thinking that'd be pretty cool. And then on top of these guys, we can go. So that'd be, the window would start right there. Then we'd have 1, 2, and 3. So we'd have a 3 high window. Then we could basically bring this guy out to here. And I thought that'd be a good height for the general scale of this area. And then in this bit, I wanted to go ahead and have it actually coming up to a single point, just stepping up 1 block at a time. And I feel like that's way too much. But let's go ahead and see if we can't get this thing up to the same point here. Now we have all 4 corners, or all roof bits in here going throughout. I basically did that same stepping up 1 bit at a time pattern going around this whole guy. And I think that'll be a pretty good shape and size for us here, so we can get a little bit of extra room to work with. And it kind of allows us to have that general look that I was interested in going for. Coming down to this point, however, we do want to go ahead and look at what our floor is basically going to be at this height. So we actually want to go ahead and just barely raise this guy up off the bottom here. And it should be pretty good. So we're basically just going to go ahead and start right here. So that'd be the floor. And then we can maybe actually, I think it would look better if we actually had this area kind of stepped up 1 block higher. Just so you kind of step up into this little alcove, or whatever we're going to be calling it, area right here. Then we can go ahead and have this kind of coming up to this point. And then we'll have a little bit of a dark oak, like slabby roof hanging out over the edge of that guy. And I think that'll be pretty good for what we want on here. Overall, I'm really happy with the general plan of this so far. I don't want those things connected all the way down to the bottom. I think that would look a little weird if we connect them all the way. But something like that should be pretty cool. Just raising it up a little bit there, giving ourselves a little bit of extra depth and added interest onto the wall over here. Then we have a lot of things that we can work with, bringing this stuff out, making it more interesting, adding in a cool roof on top of this guy. I'm trying to think of a fun color that we can go for the roof here, because I don't want to do like a wood. I want to do like a terracotta or something like that. So if you guys have ideas, be sure to let me know what color we should go for here. I'm leaning towards like a red or like a maroony, something like that, because we'll have like the wine berries, or maybe like we actually go with like a green or something like, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think we should do for the color here. But now that I'm looking at it, I do want to actually go ahead and move all of these blocks that we were working with here, these polished andesite ones, back over this way, because I think it'll look a little bit better. So we can go ahead and do bam, bam, and bam, and there we go. Cool, looking good. But overall, I'm really happy with this guy so far. Now, the next thing we need to work on is coming over here to the chimney area that we want this thing to be working off of. Obviously, because our floor block is going to be on here. So basically, that's the base level for it. We do want to give ourselves 1, 2, and 3 blocks right here in the center, probably. And then we can go ahead and do something like that. And maybe we actually go ahead and bring this up a little bit higher and bring those 3 middle ones right there coming all the way up. And then once we get to this point, we can go ahead and... we probably want to actually go ahead and maybe bring you down to there, bring this guy down to, and then have it kind of start coming up out in this direction. So it's just a little bit higher up and more centered onto the roof bit itself, or not the roof, but the building itself. So it's not just like completely hanging off to the side. I think that'll do a good job of giving us that idea that we want for the chimney. After all, this is just a general base plan idea. I think what I want to go ahead and do now, though, guys, is I actually would like to go ahead and cut out this area here underneath just a little bit so we can get a general idea. I'm going to go ahead and get our floor in place as far as what things are going to be looking for this base beam bit right here. So let me go ahead and do those things, and I'll be back to y'all. Hey everybody, and welcome on back. So I've been doing a lot of work throughout here, just adding in little details and little bits of extra things throughout this entire place. So down here, I did go ahead and bring our floor down quite a bit more. We have this awesome little ceiling in here built up, ready to go for when we want to start detailing things out down underneath. Yes, I am actually planning on doing an interior for this guy, but I want to go ahead and make this more interesting by bringing it down here, then turning the corner. Instead of you being able to basically look from our road up here all the way throughout everything, I figured just simply turning it into the corner here and then opening it up that way might actually be a little bit more interesting overall. So I went ahead and did that there. Beyond that, I've been coming through the top area up here and adding in a lot of just extra bits to this area throughout, just kind of starting to define things that we're going to be working on in the next few episodes. Next episode, I'm planning next episode, we're actually going to come through here and build up our little manor house for the vineyard. I do want to go ahead and bring in another block at this level for another floor. So it's like 2 thick block for the floor. And we can add like a more interesting design that would work and look better from the top, and we don't really have to worry about it underneath because we already have that guy down there. However, to finish this episode off, I've been dealing with a lot of issues of constantly having to move like my storage chest around. I got all my shulker boxes on me. So I wanted to go ahead and actually build up the last little bit of our storage room over here. So I was thinking what could be kind of cool is if we actually went ahead and had 2 of our faces here built out of stone, making it look like that they're actually like stone based and kind of built up to withstand everything going on right here. So I was thinking that we could go ahead and have those 2 faces back there built up with stone. Then these front 2 up here would actually be built up with a wood side to it. So back here, I did want to go ahead and bring in some polished andesite, and we can kind of start by bringing this guy down here and doing something like that. I'm thinking, yeah, we're bringing this up to 4 high, so that's okay with me. Let's go ahead and do bam, and then boop, and there, and then we'll do a double, and that should help kind of strengthen or sign this stuff out here, making it look a little bit more smoothed out. A bit of a stronger base to it than anything else, and we can go ahead and basically bring these guys all the way across the top like this. I'm planning for the roof on this guy to just bring in some dark oak and bring in the feeling from like those types of roofs that we're using way back when for the village. Thought that'd be able to look pretty good in here. Now we have all this area that we can turn into like a window looking out the back here. I know this is supposed to be a more of a storage room, but I still want to go ahead and have some windows crammed back in here just so we can get some airflow. This will mostly be for like the farming equipment, not any storage of like goods or things like that. So this is basically just going to be our little bit of base camp that we can use ourselves here to really make this area look pretty cool. So I want to go ahead and add all this type of stuff in here. Then from here, we do need to go ahead, and I think it's basically like that to make everything work. And I do want to go ahead and bring in like a little bit of a fence right there just to add a little bit of like a extra window to keep that air moving throughout like I was talking about. Then we can come back throughout these areas and basically just kind of copy this over to this side here as well. Because we're going to have these 2 faces. I figured that we have the 2 stone faces make it look like this is maybe like an older one fortifying against the wind. Then we have these guys on the other side, just adding in that extra bit of detail, just making it a little bit different than anything else we've really had. So I'll tell you guys what, let me go ahead and do a little bit more work on here. I'll be back with you guys as soon as I have an update. All right, welcome on back, guys. So I've got a little bit of an update here for you all. Last clip, there might have been some weird little audio issues for that. I'm very sorry about that. I was trying to look into it, and then for some reason, I don't really know what's happening, but if there's too many programs open in the background, that stuff kind of happens every once in a while. Anyways, though, taking a look at everything we got over here, I actually do want to grab a spruce log real fast. I actually need 4 because I want to do that. Get a full one, and then I've been adding in a lot of texture variation throughout this guy, just getting in lots of extra little detail throughout here. So just adding in little things like that. So we got our spruce planks right here, and I added the strip spruce logs in just to help break it up a little bit, so it's not just super plain Jane going throughout the whole place. Then on the other sides, I brought in some andesite and some diorite and help with these polished andesite blocks that we added on the corners. Then these guys, we got our windows back in here that we added in as well in the last clip. And then I picked this up through watching one of Mythical Sausage's streams recently. He was streaming a little while ago and was touring around his Patreon world, and somebody added these onto all of their windows that they're using with the stairs, and it adds like a little bit of a frame on it from the inside, and from the inside it actually doesn't look too bad either. I think for now we're going to go ahead and leave this in here and see if we can't mix it up a little bit as we're moving throughout to see what we can do to break it up and maybe make it work for us a little bit better than it is right now on the inside as well. So I think that'll be a fun challenge as we're going throughout this guy. We got that in there, just has a little bit of a window cover to help get some extra detail on here, get some extra depth onto everything. Then what we're actually here for now is I want to come in through here and start adding in our roof bits. So we get that, now we add them in right there. That'll be straight down the middle. I'm not super big on that point right there because it's so flat. So I'm thinking about we might want to go ahead and just turn these guys into some full blocks. Now that I'm looking at it, it might be better for us if we just go ahead and do a full block right across here. And it helps kind of make that doorway more finished than it is right now, because right now the doorway just kind of ends pretty flat right up there. So we'll go ahead and do that guy for now. Then what we're going to be doing is actually bringing these out to being sticking out to the ends right like there. And then over here right like that. Let me go ahead and figure out how we can get up here real fast. Right there. Perfect. Then we want to go ahead and start basically just stepping this guy up here like this. Bringing it all the way up to the top. And that we're actually going to go ahead and destroy. Bringing you up like that. Bam. Bam, bam. Bringing it over. Over, and then finally back down to here. Then we want to go ahead and do that. 1, 2, and 3. Throw in another one on top. 1, 2, 3. And then throw another dark oak stair and basically bring this guy all the way around. After this, it's pretty simple. Basically just fill in the gaps. So I'll go ahead and do that real fast. All right, I'm just coming back in here, adding in a few extra little tiny bits at the end. And I want to show you guys what we're doing here. So the roof came up, and there's little areas in here where we couldn't put that full slab in the middle. But since we're on an angle here, we can actually go ahead and use some stairs back to back since the full block height is actually right there. Then that makes it look like we have that 1 block wide little gap right here at the top going throughout the entire way. And I actually really like that. I really like that it kind of helps break things up and adds a little bit of extra depth to this guy. I think it did a really good job for kind of mixing a little bit up in there. Then the inside is actually looking pretty smooth here as well. So we have just everything like that. It's going pretty well. Really happy with how this one turned out so far. And I think I'm actually going to go ahead and just go ahead and do a little bit of stuff right like here to kind of help round out these corners a bit. Make it just feel a little bit more polished and finished off on the inside. Just little bits like this. It won't change it at all on the outside, but the inside's going to look a heck of a lot better. So even little bits right there. So we can go ahead and do that. Just throw that guy in here. And that should be pretty good for what we wanted to accomplish with that. Overall, very happy with the roof here. All right, everybody. Welcome on back. We got these shaders back on in place here. Our build is finished up. Got the commenter question of the day in hand. And I want to check this guy out here with you guys really, really briefly. I decided to go ahead and throw in a little bit of path block out here with some trapdoors around it. Make it look like maybe some sawdust or something like that. Maybe some fertilizer that they could be spreading around all the crops. We got a little bit of a wagon thing right here using some of our oak trapdoors, so we changed back to the default ones. We got a hopper, and then we just got a fence gate right there at front, being a little handle so you could like pull it around with you and all that good stuff. In here, we got some extra bits of detail. Over on this side, just some chests laying up against the wall. We got some note block crates in here. Can't wait to get that barrel texture in here to bring a bunch of empty barrels in here or something like that. These guys up here just kind of make it look as full as we possibly can. Threw a little bed in here so, you know, it's survival ready and friendly for us when we want to actually be doing some stuff throughout here. And yeah, I tried throwing in another thing, those little path blocks, but our trapdoor right there seemed to say no to path block right there. However, in the past few episodes, well, last episode especially, I asked you guys, what should we name our castle over there? Big old castle-y Nick Castle face was a great suggestion down there in the comments below, but fortunately, I don't think that really fits in the style that we really go for in this world here. So, the name of the castle over there, which is also going to play into the comment, not quite related, but Faded Spirit left a comment, and it was the top voted comment down in the section for the last episode of this series. So, we're going to go with that castle name. It is the Arcanum. Very excited about that. I think it sounds very magical and mystical and all that good stuff, so we're good there. That should be really fun. Anyways, let's go to get into the comment of the day. This one plays along with the castle naming schema stuff. This is a bit of a long one coming in from Argurius. He said, wouldn't it be funny if you named the castle Hearthstone? On a more serious note, taking into consideration I think taking into consideration the building's purpose when thinking of a name would make it a bit easier. Castle names can have suffixes that donate its purpose, like hold, hall, home, fort, watch, or etc. Adding these suffixes to more important features and or symbols of the place can make the name sound more unique and meaningful. Lastly, for next bit of flavor, you can mess up the words, signifying the building has been there for a long time and the people just kind of slurred the name a bit. For example, Sunset Hall, Sunset Hall, Sunset Hall, or whatever, Sunset Hall. You kind of really mess it up there. Totally butchering the pronunciation on that one. Obviously not a local one that was named. But yeah, I just wanted to share that comment with you guys because I thought it was really interesting. I didn't really thought of things in that way. How you can name your own structures. Thought everybody else, it seems like that comment was really buried down there in the thread of everything. So I want to bring that to your guys' attention. So that might help you guys out with naming your own cities or castles or halls or whatever you want to do them. But yeah, next episode, we're going to be coming back here, building up our big old manor house right there that we started planning out in today's episode. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to let me know down in the comments below what ideas you guys have for the rest of the build, this area, all that good stuff. Please hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you are new, and I will catch you on the flip side.